guys, now you're watching Series 6. I did a review on Series 5 and 4 with my editing skills as best as this video is. So check out Series 4 and 5 if you haven't already, and the David Tennant specials. I talked about David Tennant overall if you haven't already. Check them videos out. Series 1, 2 and 3, my editing skills are not the best, so if you want to check them out at your own risk, there you go. But anyway, we're talking about Series 6 today. So, Impossible Astronaut till we are talking about until the Flesh two-parter. Then I'm going to stop this video. I'm going to split the video so it's not a long-ass video. And then in a couple of days' time, we'll talk about the God Complex until the Wedding of River Song. Oh God, Wedding of River Song. Yes, we're talking about that in a couple of days. So splitting the video for 6 episodes each way. Anyway, let's get into Series 6. The Impossible Astronaut. Yeah, so let's get into it. So I've got my notes to keep me on track, so I'm fully on this, and we watched the episode not long ago, so I should be alright. So let's get into it. So obviously we start off with the 11th Doctor's death. The 11th Doctor dies. He gets Amy, River, Rory, and the FBI agent. I don't know his name. It has been a while since I checked this video out, to be fair, but I have watched it, so I should know his name. I don't know his name. I'm going to call him the FBI agent. You will know his name. Count Oliver the Third. I can't say his name. Oh well, you know who I mean. I'm going to call him FBI agent. He's not an agent anymore because President Nixon has stopped him becoming an agent because he wants to marry a black man, and we have that whole conflict. But he's been rehired for one last case. Why should he take it? But oh well, he's going to take it because he misses his FBI days. So he's on the case. But anyway, back to that, we see him with a pile of liquid to burn the Doctor in. And the Doctor dies. He gets shot by this space person who we later learn is River Song. Spoilers. Oh, you are watching a review, so you shouldn't be spoiled. So yeah, River Song from the astronaut. We don't know that at this point. We know that at the end of the finale. Anyway, River kills the 11th Doctor. He dies. And he starts regenerating. Then he gets shot again, and he can't regenerate. He falls on the floor and dies. And the Doctor and the astronaut flies off in the water underneath, and leaves us with past River and Amy and Rory and President Nick, FBI agent. Don't know his name still. They go and burn the body, and then we later learn the FBI agent will be seeing us again soon. Who is he? Then we end up in this little cafe, and once we're in this cafe, we see the past 11th Doctor with these little notes he's been given us to send us to this point, and invitations to the Doctor's death. And then we see the past 11th Doctor, and they all travel with him. They go off to find out some stuff, and the Silents are back, and we see the Silents for the very first time, and we see them at the beach looking at the Doctor's death. And Amy sees the Silents, but when she goes to tell them who that guy is, she forgets, because when you look at the Silents, you forget. You know all about the Silents. I don't need to explain. They're scary, fun creatures, and they're quite a good dynamic to have in the episode. We also have, before I forget, just to bring it up, throughout each episode we have this woman opening the slit door to check up on Amy, leading us into the midway finale of Series 6, The Good Man Goes to War. Anyway. We River from the future killed the Doctor, but River can't know anything, she can't reveal anything, and she's just constantly investigating. Then we see this woman, this little girl that breaks out, which we later learn is River Song throughout the series. We also see this little girl regenerate, scaring her for Tramp. Before I forget that moment, because Amy knows the astronaut will kill the Doctor in the future. So she wants to prevent that. And she shoots the astronaut that later tries to attack them in the episode. And it's the little girl. The little girl's trapped in the astronaut suit, which is actually River Song. And yeah, timey-wimey, what do you expect? It's Doctor Who. FBI agent, we've talked about him. The Silence, we talked a bit about them. They're basically just checking up on the Doctor to stop him from getting to Trenzalore and stop him from revealing his name, which we later learn in the previous series. But anyway, they're a big threat and they're scary, and we see this woman get blown up, and then we also see this the Silence attack more, and we see we're trying to find this little girl. She's calling out of no place. She's calling the president when she has all this power, and we're trying to learn and investigate. And the 11th Doctor takes the case as well, with President Nixon helping and stuff like that, leading it into another cliffhanger, the Day of the Moon. Basically, with the Day of the Moon, we've got the Doctor getting trapped and locked up, the FBI agent shooting Rory, he dies, and then we've got Amy, I think she gets killed off as well, and then we got River jumping off a building, and the Doctor eventually going to take her out, save her with the TARDIS and fly back. Anyway, they're all not dead. They're all in body bags brought to the 11th Doctor, trapped, and to show that he's in his place, putting him in his place. And then we see the FBI agent is actually a good guy, and they've got all plans, and they need to reveal that everyone's dead so they can get to work, basically. And then President Nixon later comes out that box somehow and scares the guards off, which is a funny scene to see. We also see 11th Doctor needs to work out how to defeat the Silence. They're constantly a big threat. Right, he puts something onto... suddenly the human race wants to go to the moon. So they have to sort something out in the moon landing. So when they land, they send a message, the Silence and stuff like that. They investigate into this old house, which is quite scary, and we use the scare effects with the Silence quite well in that scene. Then Amy gets captured, and the Doctor needs to find Amy. And River's blasting the Silence when they find Amy, and the Doctor's doing the same. And we see this dynamic between Amy and Rory, how much they love each other, and he thinks that she's talking about the Doctor when they got this little piece to remind them about the Silence. They record a message, and he can hear that, and he thinks she's talking about the Doctor when he's not. Yeah, God, there's a lot to go through, isn't there? So the Silence are coming around the place and killing and like that, and the Doctor's plan is basically to record a message. They've captured a Silence, and he's like, you should kill us all at sight. And the Silurians repeat that, so now when humans see a Silurian Silence, they kill the Silence, basically. They're just hypnotic. They're hypnotized into killing Silence constantly, because everyone on Earth has seen the moon landing as far as Doctor Who logic goes. But yeah, a lot of people have. I mean, they're surely going to be like a 10% who haven't. But yeah, then the Silence get defeated. They have to run off, and they get Amy to the TARDIS, and they get River off to her adventures, and she kisses the Doctor for the first and last time. She thinks he's later on in this time stream when he's not. Yeah. 7 out of 10 for the first episode, 7 out of 10 for the second, and overall 7 out of 10. It's a timey-wimey story. I'm a lot more for the fun, adventurous ones. So yeah. And now we're on to The Curse of the Black Spot. There's not a lot to go on. It's a fun, upbeat story, and a lot of people don't like this story, but I actually enjoy it, so I'm a minority to this episode. Yeah, let's get into it. So, yet again, later on, Rory kind of dies again. Oh dear, Rory just dies, and it's just on point now. Rory has to die every episode because Moffat can, and because why not? You know, Rory, bless him. Anyway, let's get into it. So, yet again, before I forget, you got that woman checking up on the little slit through to check up on Amy again to see how she's doing. Obviously, she's a ganger, Amy. Yeah, we'll later learn about that in later episodes. But yeah, let's get into the actual episode. So basically, the idea of the black spot is it comes up on her hand to notify their victims. This nurse is trying to save people. She's an alien. She doesn't understand that well. She's a nurse alien. So she's trying to heal people, and when people get a little cut, they're infected, they need to get to hospital. As far as she's concerned, even if it's a little bruise or a sniffle or a cold or anything, they're going to die. They need to be taken aboard, and we think they're going to die when she takes them. She lures them in with her music and makes them want to touch them and fall in love and stuff like that. Mermaid, nurse, alien creature, which is quite interesting to see. And the dynamic, we later learn about that. You also see the pirate crew and how much they are genuine pirates tricking each other, trying to battle it out and stuff. Then we have the 11th Doctor and the pirate captain battling it out who should be in charge and stuff like that. The TARDIS flies off. The TARDIS is no good. So Amy and Rory and the Doctor are left until later on. There's only a few of them left because they've all got cuts and they've all been taken by that creature. We learn, and the Doctor keeps making mistakes, you know. The Doctor is saying one thing, then the other. And we finally reveal that it's mirrors, reflections is what makes the creature come out. So when a reflection appears, it can grab the victim they need. Then we later see Rory die yet again with series 5 with Amy's choice. When Rory dies, Amy wants to follow. So the Doctor decides to cut all their hands, get touched and taken away to save Rory, because he has an inkling that they won't die. And they've been watched all along on this alien spaceship. That's the pirate ship. Then we have to see the pirate and his son, and he has to stay with his son because he's going to be on. His son is going to be on the ship forever. You know, there's no cure. He has to stay with his son that gets infected. His son is actually, we have a backstory, you know, of him, the pirate captain turning pirate, and him leaving his family, and is now, the mom's dead, the son's gone to hide on the dad's ship and try and see what his father does and stuff, and he learns that he's a pirate and that stuff goes on. Yet again, Rory drowns, so Amy needs to save her, but first we have to deal with the alien nurse, and have to reveal that it's his wife, and she has to sign a weird alien contract with the Circle. 11th sneezes, it tries to attack the disease. The Doctor gets rid of that with a cold. There's not a lot to this story, to be fair. I'm just going to wrap it up with the dad and the captain and the crewmates are on an alien spaceship off, and they get Rory, that he's still drowning, into the TARDIS, and Amy has to not give up and make Rory breathe, and she eventually does. She doesn't give up, and you've got the Doctor and the Amy and Rory fly off in the TARDIS yet again. What they give it? It's a 7 out of 10. It's obviously not the best story. There's not a lot to go on, but it's an alright one. I could see it as a filler episode, but yeah. On to the Doctor's wife. Let's get into it. I've got my notes to keep on track, as always. So, the TARDIS and 11. Yes, we finally get that nice dynamic to see the 11th Doctor and the TARDIS meet and talk and have them weird conversations, and the Doctor touching the TARDIS as a kid and later stealing the TARDIS, and she stole him in a way. And the TARDIS is relative, you know, time is everything, so she can see the future, and she's getting jumbled up with the time and the past and stuff like that. And the TARDIS get turned into a human because the Doctor's landed on this house. He got tricked. Like all Time Lords do, there's this little message that's been sent to lure Time Lords in to this massive planet called House, and it has these two weird creatures for the house's entertainment, and it steals TARDISes and humans, and not humans, it steals Time Lords, and a lot of Time Lords have died, and these two creatures have been builded up with parts of Time Lords, so one hand's bigger than the other and stuff like that, really, and his eyes are 20 years younger than his body and stuff like that. You know, these two creatures are built up with human body parts, well, Time Lord body parts. And then you've got the house is full of Time Lord scrapyard junk. All these TARDISes, it's destroyed and used, really. We've got this other woman that gets absorbed by the TARDIS, our TARDIS, a proper TARDIS, the Doctor's one, and now is Idris, the TARDIS, and we later learn she's mad and crazy, and then we later learn it's actually the TARDIS, and we get along with it and stuff like that. Amy gets sent to the TARDIS, the TARDIS core, the box. Amy and Rory get sent there for safety because they later learn about the Time Lords returning, and he could try and hopefully get help off the Time Lords and say he's not the last of his kind anymore, and he wants to be forgiven for the Time War and stuff like that. But then the house has actually killed all the Time Lords, and it's just a box full of messages, trickery, and the Doctor is angry and outraged and reveals that he's the last of his kind. That's the last TARDIS, and then the Doctor, the house turns into the TARDIS and starts playing around with Amy and Rory, which we see dynamics of Rory dying again, Rory turning old, and then Rory as a skeleton, and we see Nephew, this Ood creature that actually is on this planet as well, is now in the TARDIS and trying to attack Amy and Rory and do his will. Then we also get to see the David Tennant TARDIS. I absolutely love that TARDIS, and they see that, and we get to see little room consoles and running around the place, which is nice to see. We also see Scary, how the TARDIS can manipulate and with atmosphere and breathing and all that. So the TARDIS, if it was evil, it could kill anyone like that. But anyway, the real TARDIS is Inhuman Idris, and she's with the 11th Doctor. The TARDIS has disappeared, so now Idris and the Doctor's got to try and build their own TARDIS out of this garbage junkyard of dead TARDISes, and they build it up and they fly off to get inside our TARDIS where the house is, and it lands where Nephew is, the Ood. It crushes the Ood, and the Ood is dead. And then they're all in the actual TARDIS now. God, I've said TARDIS so many times. Take a shot every time I say TARDIS. You'll be drunk. I'm going to say it again, aren't I? So Idris sends a message to Rory to say to get to this point and try and do this and that. Then they're all in the same room now. And then it's quite some comedic lines as well. So then the TARDIS, take a shot. The TARDIS will then start. It's in the box now. It can release itself and get back into the actual TARDIS setting. So it can get rid of the house, and the house is fighting the TARDIS, and it gets disintegrated. The house is no more. It gets eaten by the TARDIS, and then the TARDIS is back to normal. It's all safe. It's all happy. Well, the 11th Doctor is saying goodbye to Idris / TARDIS, and yeah, he says goodbyes. It's quite sad. It makes the Doctor into an emotional state. Amy and Roy leave the Doctor to it because he's in emotional mood setting, so they need to leave him some space. And then the TARDIS flicks a few buttons without the Doctor even touching, so he knows the TARDIS is still there and safe. We lead off with that. It's quite a nice story. 8 out of 10. Really interesting story. You should be drunk now if you took a shot every time I said TARDIS. So yeah, congratulations. Now on to the final part of this Series 6 episode. Then we'll talk about the God Complex to Wedding of With a Song in the next episode. So yeah, stick around for that. Anyway, let's get into Rebel and Flesh and Almost People. Yeah, let's just give the review easily out of the way. We also get this woman checking up on Amy yet again. We also learn that she's a flesh avatar person, Amy is, and the Doctor needs to find her and get her out. But yeah, 7 out of 10 for the first part, 7 out of 10 for the second part, and overall out of 10, 7 out of 10. Let's just talk about it a bit more now. Humans versus the flesh avatars. So basically these gangers are being used and died in constant recycle, but these gangers are alive, and I think it actually takes place when the lightning strikes and turns the gangers properly into living organisms to walk around in these bodies that the humans can use in as clones for working and conditions and stuff like that. You've seen the episode, you know what I'm talking about. So also it scans the Doctor when they arrive early on, so now we have a ganger of the 11th Doctor, and we have that dynamic of Amy saying, but you're not the Doctor, it's not you. I guess that's a very human thing to think of, And yet again, I did have a go at Rose Tyler when she was having it in series 4 and saying, you've got the Doctor, stop being selfish. But I can kind of get it with Amy's one more, because she has to deal with these two Doctors, but one is actually can turn into this monster at any second and flip out, and it's getting stabilized. You know, my hair's all messy, so I'm trying to sort it. Yeah. So, yeah. It flips out Amy at one point and hurts her. So she has a right to question the flesh avatar Doctor is if he's real or not, really. And frankly, all of them have certain flipping out, certain monstrous terms like stretching arms and head stretching and killing people and eating them and destroying them, destroying the humans. And the humans have a fight on their hands, like, to prove human versus Avatar, and yet eventually they get the peace treaty, apart from one that's just savage and trying to kill everyone. I almost flipped there. Disaster this video is. What else? So yeah, Rory gets an attachment to the evil flesh monster that later tricks him and tricks everyone and tries to destroy all humans and stuff like that. And then we have the flesh avatars learning new tricks and stuff like that. And some of the humans that died, the flesh avatars can take their place and see their kids and stuff like that. Yeah, there's not a lot to go on, otherwise it's a run around, and the Doctor tried to warn them and they didn't listen, and the avatars came to life. And some of the humans that are left need to send a message, what are safe, to say stop using avatars because they're alive and stuff like this. Yeah, there's not a lot to this episode, really. There is a scary aspect to it with the flesh avatars, with their stretching out scenes and stuff like that. Rory's dynamic with that woman was quite nice to see, but then later she turns too evil. The cliffhanger of the Doctor was quite interesting to see. Two Doctors, two dynamics. Matt Smith's performance was done well with them two Doctors there, and Amy's regret in choosing you're not the Doctor and stuff like that. It's quite interesting to see. And then swapping shoes to trick Amy was quite different. What else? Yeah, there's not a lot to it. The woman obviously checking up on Amy in the future. Then we later learn at the end of the episode, when everyone's gone, we're all in the TARDIS, Amy is a flesh avatar, and she's been that from the very beginning of Series 6. So this is a very interesting key point, even though a lot of stuff didn't happen in this story. It is a key point in the series because Amy is actually a flesh avatar. And we also see that in God Complex, not God Complex, and we also see it in The Good Man Goes to War, that Amy's kid is actually a flesh avatar as well. It's all been tricked with the plot, really. Anyway, yeah, there's not a lot to the story, like I said, and I've given my ratings out of 10. So yeah, now we're into the second part of Series 6, so stick around for that. That'll be out in about Wednesday, it should be. Anyway, check the videos out if you haven't already. Go like, give us a comment, rate, subscribe, you know, give your opinions on the Series 6, I would like to know. And have a little comment down below and let's talk about it. Yeah, and give me any videos you'd like me to do in the near future. I'll do it at some point. Yeah, see you guys soon.